So you're thinking about moving to Renton, Washington. Well, stick around. In this video, it's going to be the most in-depth video that we have and probably the longest as well. This is going to be the map video. We're going to hop in my computer, check out the map feature on Google to show you where Renton is located in relation to the other areas in the King County area, like the airport and the mountains in Seattle and Bellevue. And then we're going to zoom in on Renton so that we can look at all the attractions and kind of our favorite spots in Renton, and then also pull up the MLS, check out some real estate, look at kind of the low, middle, and high price points in the area as well, and actually look at some pictures of homes. So if you're looking to learn more about Renton, this is the video for you. Stick around. We're going to get after it right now. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know all there is to know about living in King County or places like Renton, like we're talking about today, hit the subscribe button and tap the bell for notifications. That way you can be the first to be notified of a new video of Renton or one of our other favorite cities here in King County. I'm Brad Decatur with the Decatur Home Team, and we get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you every day who are looking to make their move to King County. So whether you're 1 day or 1 year away, we would love to help you make a smooth move to King County. We have all the contact information below, so feel free to give us a call, text, email, or hop on a Zoom call to better understand your needs in real estate and which market is best for you. So today we're doing the map video, so I'm going to actually turn this camera off in just a second. We're going to hop in the computer, and we're going to start right now. Hey everybody, we are on the computer now, so I'm going to do a share screen, and we will start the video here. All right, so first let's pull up the map feature here. So this is Renton, although I'm gonna move my head here. I do want to note, after I just pulled it up, this is not quite correct. So that's the outline of Renton. So it's a little bigger than it says. This happens on a lot of these videos on the Google map feature. Just, I don't know where it got that boundary, but it's definitely not correct. So you can see Renton is pretty big. So let's go ahead and zoom out, and I'll give you guys an idea of where Renton is located in relation to a few of the other major areas. So let's get the pen out here. So like I said in previous videos, if you've seen them, Renton borders up right up to Bellevue. So Bellevue is going to run into Renton here on the north side, south side of Bellevue, north side of Renton, and then also Seattle. So South Seattle, so Burien is a Seattle address, Tukwila is not, but they kind of meet up right here. So part of Seattle is touching Renton. So that's why I think Renton is a really good central location for people who are working in the Bellevue, Seattle area, or even Kirkland and Redmond. That's where most of your jobs are at. So you can see from the map here that it's a really easy commute. And, because of, let's say Bellevue, for example, the pricing in Bellevue is so expensive compared to Renton that it's a really good alternative for people. And then not that far of a commute. They just hop up on 405. So yeah, other things, obviously Seattle right here. The drive to Seattle, if you're in downtown Renton, is super easy. You just hop up on I-5 here. You'd probably be at T-Mobile Field in maybe 20 minutes or so, maybe less. Well, it depends on the traffic because I-5 can be pretty bad. So traffic depending, but it could be as low as like probably 20 minutes and as high as, I guess, 45 minutes if it's really traffic, or maybe an hour. Bellevue, same thing, probably a little bit shorter. I mean, from the top of Renton, I mean, you're in Bellevue, basically the south side of it, as soon as you cross the border. But if you're talking like, let's say downtown Renton down here, all the way to like Bell Square, so downtown Bellevue, probably 25 minutes as well, depending on traffic. 405 is also going to get pretty backed up. Let me erase this so it's a little cleaner. Something else to note is going to be the airport. So another great part about Renton is it is right next to the airport. So something else to note is going to be where the airport is located. So again, Renton is this area right here, and SeaTac is where the airport is. So the airport is super close to Renton. I mean, if you're in the right spot, if you're in downtown Renton, which is going to be this area right here, it's minutes away. I mean, 5-10 minutes, depending on what's going on the freeway. You'd probably take 405 straight down there unless you're on some back roads here. But the airport's super, super close. A couple other things to note. If you're someone who's working in like Kirkland or Redmond, you're just going to keep going through Bellevue. So it's just a little bit farther, another 10 minutes or so to Kirkland probably. Other than that, surrounding cities, we have, Issaquah is also butts up to the Renton border. So these things kind of connect right around here, give or take. So super close in Issaquah. If you're someone who like works at Costco, they have corporate there. A lot of other stuff in Issaquah as well. Like even when I lived in Renton, we used to go to Issaquah sometimes for like the Costco. There's a Costco in Covington as well, but a little bit farther out. You're also going to come up to Maple Valley. Here is where these things kind of connect around here. So Renton Maple Valley Highway is going to go into Maple Valley, and those do have a border change right there. So those are some of the kind of surrounding areas. Kent here is on the south side. And then other than that, let's zoom out a little bit. The mountains are going to be something else that you might want to know how far those are. So if we zoom out a little bit here, there's Snoqualmie Pass. So Snoqualmie Pass is going to be your nearest mountain for snowboarding and skiing, and you're just going to hit I-90 the whole way. You may come down on Highway 18 here, depending on which part of Renton you live in. Or you might go all the way here to 405 if you're going to like the downtown area. So if you're downtown, getting to Snoqualmie Pass, the mountains is probably going to take you 45 minutes or so, give or take. And that I think is about all you need to know for kind of what's located around Bellevue. Tacoma's here, another big, the Port of Tacoma, so a lot of other jobs down there. That's also pretty close, not too far, probably a half hour, 45 minutes tops. And then up here, another major city is Everett, but that's, I don't see why a lot of people in Renton will be going to Everett, pretty far north. So let's go ahead and zoom in on Renton now so we can take a look at some of the attractions. So the bulk of this video is going to be of actually Renton. So now that we kind of covered what's around Renton, let's zoom in on Renton so that we can look at some of the cool things to do, attractions, some specific locations. And then, like I said, we'll hop into some real estate, look at a few different neighborhoods. I'm going to pull the MLS up so we can actually see some prices and go through some pictures just to get an idea of what different areas have what different kind of houses, and of course, what those houses cost. So first off, attractions, things to do. So let's start with the landing. So Grand Coulon Park and the landing is probably one of your main areas for big commercial stuff. So they have like the Target, Dick's Sporting Goods, lots of like Marshalls, all those big stores, big box stores are down there. You can see from just if I zoom in really far, it's a pretty big spot. I mean, lots of different parking. This is all part of the same area here. So it's not a mall. It's just a big commercial area. So you can get lots of different shopping done. They also have lots of good restaurants there too. So for shopping, entertainment, restaurants, it's pretty much has it all there. Movie theaters, the brand new thing that's in there, I don't even know if it'll be on the map feature here, is going to be the Top Golf. So Top Golf is new to King County. So this has been in the works for years. So we were all super excited when this thing came out, and it's super busy. So it's living up to all the hype. Here's some pictures of it here. We did a little drive-by we'll show you as well, but super cool facility. I'm sure most of you guys know what a Top Golf is, but that is down here in the landing area. So right next to the landing is Jean Coulon Park. So this is a great spot here to bring the family. It's on the lake, it's on the water. So it has like the boat launch area. It's got a bunch of picnic tables, big, huge playground and park and tennis courts. And it's also got a few places for food as well, like Ivar's is right there on the water. So really cool spot here. I'll just zoom in so you can see. We'll show you some footage right now as well. Here we go. So here's one area of the park. And down here, the big parking lot. And this is the one that's going to have the tennis courts, as you see here. The playground is right here. Obviously, lots of grass area and your actual beach area. You can see the border here, so you can actually do some swimming here and actually stay safe with your kids. So Jean Coulon Park is a super cool spot here in the Renton area. Another thing right down here in this same area is going to be Boeing. So Boeing it's actually a small airport technically, but it's also where they hub like some of their workforce in. So Everett and Renton are the two main Boeing locations. So if you're working with Boeing, you're going to be in one of these two locations. So because of that reason, and Renton being one of the main hubs, there's a lot of people that live in Renton that work at Boeing. So it's a really good spot. If you do work at Boeing, obviously the commute will be very short, but they have all their planes here. You can see some right here on the landing strip there. So they actually do fly out of here, but it's a pretty small airport. It's definitely not like SeaTac. So if you're doing a normal commercial flight, you'll probably be going to the SeaTac airport. But the reason I'm showing you this is just because this is a big industry in the area. So having the Boeing headquarters here, this is also where they like manufacture the planes and have all their actual, people who work there, they actually work here. It's not just an airport. So the main purpose of this Boeing center is for manufacturing the airplanes, not for actually flying out, although it is an airport too. So that pretty much does it for the attractions there in the kind of the downtown area. The landing's not quite downtown. Downtown's right here. I'll actually zoom in a little bit here. So this is kind of the downtown area here. Fred Meyer, Walgreens, Chick-fil-A. There's a few streets here that I would consider like the old town Renton, and we'll show you some footage of us driving through it right now. But it's a pretty cool spot. I mean, it's got old shops and little commercial areas. And then obviously there's been some development out there too, but they also have the old school houses that are really, really pretty old in the early 1900s. So pretty cool spot here in the downtown area. And actually, before I get into some other attractions, let me just kind of outline how I think of Renton. So I don't know if you've seen another video, you know, I actually lived in Renton for quite some time. It was my parents lived there for about 5 years, the first 5 years of my life. We lived in Sammamish and Issaquah area when I grew up. But my first house that I bought, my starter house, was in Renton in Fairwood area. So I did live there for a number of years. So I know it pretty well. But yeah, the way I think of Renton is really in 4 different areas. So I'm going to get my drawing tool out here again. It's really the downtown and landing area. So kind of this whole area is like the first area that I think of. And then there's what we call the Highlands. You can see here on the map, it says East Renton Highlands. I think of the whole thing as the Highlands. So I think of it basically as soon as you pass 405 and you're on this 900 area, this would be considered to me the Highlands. So that's kind of the second place that I think about when I think of the 4 kind of sections of Renton. That's one area. Now, this is going to be in the Renton School District for the most part, this Highlands area. Whereas if we get a little bit farther east, it's going to go to the Issaquah School District, which that's the next portion that I think of in Renton. And so the Highlands is a pretty cool spot. They have, if I zoom in here, they have lots of commercial as well. They have a few different shopping center type areas, you know, Safeway, QFC. Here's some right here. Obviously, some of your fast food. So this is the main road on Northeast 4th Street that kind of goes through the Highlands. And that's where it's going to have all your commercial stuff, you know, Starbucks. Right here, we have the Renton Technical College. That's a pretty big site as well. Something else to note here, Jimi Hendrix Memorial. So the memorial here, or the graveyard off of 4th, is pretty historic because Jimi Hendrix is actually buried there. So I bet they have some cool pictures if we click on that. So there it is. There's his grave site. So if you guys don't know, Jimi Hendrix was born in this area, which is why he got buried here. So even people that are not in Renton, this is like a historic spot. People come to Renton just to come take a look at this memorial site where Jimi Hendrix was buried. So yeah, that's kind of your Renton Highlands area. When I think of the Renton Highlands, I think of more neighborhoods than the landing in downtown. Downtown's going to be a lot of those older houses, a lot of those like 2-bed, 1-bath, really small houses. They're pretty old. Some of them have like basement homes, kind of like you'd see in Seattle, but you have like the walkability. So like for me, like when I bought my house, I wasn't thinking about downtown. It wasn't really the spot for me. You know, we have kids and family. So the walkability to the downtown area wasn't really what we were looking for. Also a little bit more dangerous down there than it is in some of these other areas. But the Highlands here, the Renton Highlands, is a really good spot. There's a lot more developments that have been gone on in the last like 10, 20 years. So you're gonna find a lot more neighborhoods, many of which are just like 5 years old. You know, they have the sidewalks and cul-de-sacs. So I think of the Highlands as a pretty solid area. The other good part about the Highlands is that it's closer to Bellevue. I mean, it's not the south side. You know, this is the downtown area. So the Highlands is kind of butting up to that Newcastle area where things kind of shift and the pricing changes. And now we're getting into Bellevue here in the Newport area. So that's kind of the Renton Highlands area. Third way that the third portion that I think of is going to be like the Issaquah side of Renton. So that's going to be, let's see if I can zoom in here. On 156 is where the school district changes. So right on this road right here, that is where the school district changes. So you can see right here on the right of that, it says Liberty High School. So Liberty High School is a Renton address. All this area is a Renton address. But once you're on the west side of this, that's when you enter Issaquah School District. So that's where you're going to go to Liberty High School in this area. And even a little bit farther out, you might have a Renton address on the very side of this, and you'd actually go to Issaquah High School. So there is a border change here. And that's significant because if you look at the pros and cons video or other videos, you know, one of the downsides of Renton is the school district in Renton is not quite as good as some of those other really nice east side markets like Bellevue and Issaquah, for example. So Issaquah School District is usually the top 5 in King County, whereas Renton was number 12. So when you make that shift on 156 and you get to this new or this different school district of Issaquah, you know, pricing does change and it's a little bit better of an area. So that's kind of the third spot that I think of when I just kind of categorize Renton into these 4 different sections. And I'll draw real quick the map so you guys can see kind of how far that goes. So again, it's off 156th. So all of this is going to be Renton addresses, but Issaquah school districts. Kind of goes up here and then it kind of cuts off at 900. And then Southeast May Valley Road, that's also where it changes as well to Issaquah addresses. So the house is in the high country here. This is an Issaquah neighborhood, whereas this over here, like Lake Kathleen, that's going to be Renton addresses, but Issaquah School District. Okay, and then the 4th spot that I think of when I think of Renton is going to be the Fairwood area, which again, this is the spot that I had my first house. So let me draw the tool here. So Fairwood area is going to be, so 140 is the main street, by the way. This one goes all the way down to the golf course right down here. Here it is, Maplewood Golf Course. And then the crossing street 192nd. So Fairwood ends right about here, even though it says East Hill Meridian, that's a Kent like location. The Renton addresses, they butt up to it right about there. So I think of Fairwood as this kind of this whole area here. And then I guess I would add a fifth, and this is kind of the outskirts, the Petrovitsky area. So as you get outside of Fairwood, if you're heading west, you're going to run into Petrovitsky Park. Like I said, you can segment it out any way you want. There's tons of different pockets, but I consider this whole area kind of the Fairwood area. And then it does keep Renton addresses for a little bit over here until it hits like the Maple Valley borderline right here. And Fairwood, by the way, let's get rid of these here. Fairwood is a good spot. I mean, it is not too bad. So they have their own shopping center as well right here. So anyone in the Fairwood area is going to shop at this Safeway here. And again, it's a pretty standard commercial area with, different fast foods, different, grocery stores, and then like a bank, your dry cleaners, your teriyaki, that kind of stuff. Lots of parking. There's a gym here as well. Ace Hardware, as you can see, Mod Pizza, McDonald's. So those are kind of the four sections of Renton. They all have their benefits and their downsides. I guess I'll just chat real quick about them. So downtown, older houses, a little bit more crime, a little bit not as safe, but also lots more things to do. You're right next to the landing. The downtown area has a lot of cool things to do. So amenities wise, it's going to have, it's going to be better. It's going to have a lot more stuff to do, but maybe you're sacrificing a little bit on like the neighborhood and the house itself. The Highlands area is good. It's closer to Bellevue, so it's getting closer to kind of the better areas. And there's a lot more new construction there and more recent neighborhoods with sidewalks and cul-de-sacs and honestly, nicer houses too. So when we get in the MLS, we'll show that next and show you guys kind of the pricing. But you're going to get a little bit better, I would say, neighborhoods. But again, most of it, you're still in the Renton School District. So then the third part would be the kind of as the Highlands ends and goes to the Issaquah side. Some of it's still considered East Renton Highlands, but to my definition, it changes in my head at that school district borderline on 156th. Then there's the Issaquah side, which doesn't have a lot of new construction. Honestly, there's still some older houses, so it may actually not look as good as the Highlands area, the downtown area there, because they have a lot more new construction. But the Issaquah side, you're going to be getting, probably still an older house for the most part, but you're getting this good school district. So like I said, there's just pros and cons to each. So that's why it's important to kind of know these areas really well and know what you're getting into between each area. Because this is all Renton addresses. So someone who's not local, they might just say you're in Renton, but Renton downtown is significantly different than being in the Issaquah School District's Renton, or it's also significantly different than being in the Highlands. And different than being in Fairwood. And then Fairwood is going to be a little bit cheaper. It's farther south, right? So it's getting towards the Kent area. So probably a little bit cheaper than going to be the Issaquah side for sure, and as well as the Highlands area. But also lots of good neighborhoods. So if we zoom in on there, like the golf course, for example, Fairwood Golf Course is right here. This is like a private club. It's a private golf course. So you can't just go, you can't go play there on your own. You have to be a member. So anytime you have a country club golf course with a community in there of houses, that's usually a good thing, right? So it's definitely a good area. I love the Fairwood Greens is the neighborhood. So that's this whole neighborhood right here. So I think Fairwood is a pretty good area too. And the school district does change to Kent school districts in some of these Fairwood areas, like down here towards 192nd. So again, if you're someone who's serious about Renton, we probably have to drive around and show you all these things and get to the details of it. But that's how I think of Renton in these different sections. So I think that kind of does it for kind of overviewing Renton and where things are located map version wise. So let's hop into some real estate. I'm going to pull up the MLS here for you guys. Let's move my head over here. And I did not do any of these practices before, so this is live time. So we're just gonna do a single family search. Let's go to actives and pendings. This is being shot in the late December 22nd. So there's not as many more new houses coming to the market right now than like in spring and summer. So just FYI, if we don't see any, maybe I'll click the sold button so we have a little bit more data to choose from. But this is just a goal of showing you guys, what kind of prices are, what the houses actually look like. So just look at the first 3 or 4 photos of a few examples just randomly, just to get a ballpark of kind of what's going on. And of course, if you're watching this video, a year from now, since this will exist forever, or 5 years from now, then we'll have to obviously talk some more about prices because they might be different. But there we go. Let's see what we got here. So let's head downtown first. We'll just separate it into those 4 areas like I already outlined and show you guys kind of some of the houses. Let's start with the low price points. Let's just do like 600,000 and below. All right, so here's our downtown area, main downtown area, and then the landing area. So that's for rent. So here's one, 590,000. So this is your starter house. This is actually more than I think a lot of starter houses are. So it's only 1,000 square feet. Yeah, for downtown Renton, I would say this is on the nicer side. So that's just a little example of what you're getting there. Pretty nice spot. Let's see if we can find some that are pretty cheap, like entry level. I know I saw one that was only like 400 and something. Here's one, 450. So pretty small place, 1,300 square feet. Probably is going to be not as nice. Yeah, so that's a good example of some downtown homes that, so mid 400s to 600 is really a good range. That is going to be the downtown. There's not going to be there's a couple of small developments that have come in that are new construction. So they do exist down there if you're someone who wants to be downtown because of the amenities, but you don't want the old house that's maybe a little bit smaller, because most of these houses are going to be like this. So they do exist there. But if it's something you're looking for is like the bigger house, nicer house with a nice neighborhood, I would still advise probably downtown is probably not the area that you'd want to go, but they do exist. So there's a few examples there of downtown Renton. So 450,000, 2-bed, 1-bath, 880 square feet. So a true starter home. Like this is the entry level. There doesn't really get any cheaper than this unless we're looking at condos. I have it clicked for single family, of course, but so yeah, this is a great example of a downtown Renton home. This is like exactly what you'd expect, 450,000, 800 something square feet, 2-bed, 1-bath starter home. Okay, so that can do it for that. I won't take too long and look at 100 houses. Let's go ahead and change the criteria. Let's look at like the middle price point. Let's say 600 to 900. Oops. So let's stay in the Renton School District first, and then we'll move over. So, okay, Maplewood Heights. This is a really good one. So I just sold a home in here this last year in summertime. And I know this neighborhood very well. Knew some people that grew up there. So let's see what we got here. So this one's listed at 670,000. It's over 2,000 square feet. It must be a basement home because it looks like a rambler. Looks pretty small, but this is a good example of this neighborhood. Okay, so a little bit below 700 for that house. Let's just see a couple other examples here. Here's a 700,000, 2,400 square foot house. Oh wow, so here we go. These are one of these neighborhoods that I was talking about. So that are they're basically new construction. Still a lot higher in price. This one's listed at 1.4 right now. I think that's a little high. It's been on the market for quite a while, but big house, 4,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms. Obviously, you can tell from looking at it, it's a newer construction. So like I said, these do also exist in the Highlands area, which is why I think it's a good fit for a lot of people that are looking for the family home, cul-de-sac, sidewalks, nice neighborhood. The neighborhood's full of the other new construction houses. So a little bit better feel. And that obviously, depending on where you're coming from, that may seem like a lot of money or not a lot of money. I don't know. But compared to like Bellevue, for example, this is a steal. Let's go ahead and head over here to where it changes school districts. Not a lot for sale right now, unfortunately. Here's one for 1.2 million, 2,800 square feet. Looks like a newer construction, probably in the last 10 years. 2014 built. Oh yeah, I know this neighborhood. This is right on the border. This is a good neighborhood. Cool. So that's a good example of some of the newer construction ones. Let's take a look at the Fairwood area. All right, let's just take a look at Fairwood Greens. There's one for sale. Well, it's 1.1 million. Oh, it's huge. 4,400 square feet on the golf course. Not very typical of this area, by the way. That's one of the highest priced homes I've seen in Fairwood. You can get some good starter houses in Fairwood as well. Like, let's see if there's any close to the neighborhood I was in. Here we go. 598,000. So 600,000, 1,200 square foot. Pretty nice though. All right, let's look at a couple more. I know you guys can all check out Zillow and all that stuff to dive into the real estate, further. Plus, you might not be watching at the same time as me. Here's 1,500 square feet, 625,000 pending right now in December. This is a great example. This is perfect. This is what I expect about, when I think Fairwood, this is what I think of, low to mid 600,000s for basically a starter house, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. Perfect starter home, cute, decently updated. It looks pretty good. So yeah, that's kind of your starter house here in this area, 600,000 to 650 for this type of area, or this type of home in the Fairwood area. And then if you do go over to this area, you're going to get some more acreage homes towards, you can see there's a lot less development going on over here. So these are all Renton addresses as well. Like I said, it goes a lot farther than that map thing showed. So here's the Petrovitsky Park area. It really keeps going all the way to Maple Valley till 169. So these homes a lot of times have more acreage. I don't know if this one specifically does or not. That's not a very nice one. Let's see this one, 1.2 million. Yeah, look at this. So this one's 10 acres. So as you get towards this Maple Valley area, if you get outside of Fairwood, then you will get some more acreage homes and like more estate properties. So something good to note if you're someone who's looking for that. Renton does have that to offer, just not really so much in the downtown or the Highlands of the Issaquah area. You're probably going to be in this Petrovitsky Park area to get some more acreage. But look at this place, 10 acres. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. Hey, thanks for watching the Renton map video. I know it's a little bit long-winded, but hopefully you found it valuable. If you want to learn a little bit more or see a little bit more about Renton specifically, we have a few other videos here. The pros and cons video is really good if you want to learn some of the downsides of Renton as well as the pros. And then we have the vlog tour where we're actually kind of running around in the area, showing you what it looks like here on the footage from us vlogging in the area. And if this is your first time to the channel and you just kind of landed on Renton for the first time, be sure to check out our playlist. We cover all the major areas here in King County and some of our favorite areas that we serve. So if you're trying to explore, which area is best for you, we know them all. We're born and raised in this area, so check the playlist out so you can look at the surrounding cities like Maple Valley and Issaquah and Bellevue and Newcastle, all those areas, to really find out what is the best fit for you. And again, we're here to serve you. We'd love to help you make a smooth move to King County. So if you're getting closer to your move, whether you're a day or a year away, we'd love to help you. So the contact info is down below. So you book a call with us. The Zoom calls are super valuable to kind of find out your situation and learn, what areas might be best for you, and we can help guide that decision for you. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.